Welcome aboard, everyone. Joe Holbrook here. Really excited you're here. Let's go ahead now and talk about the top 5 money sources for independent consultants, contractors, IT pros. If you're on 1099, self-employed, these are some things you should consider. There has been a lot of information out there, but I wanted to do a quick video and clarify where this all stands, especially for folks that again, in IT, this is not something we're used to dealing with typically because, again, as a services engineer, you can get on a plane and go anywhere. Well, that's been pretty much stopped. Or as a technical trainer, same thing. That has stopped. A lot of companies still don't want you to go anywhere, or for that matter, you can't, whatever that situation is. So what I've done is I've put together a blog post. The link is below in the description. Let me know any feedback as well. Now, the first 3 I'm going to spend a little bit of time on. The last 2 are really quick. They're really dependent on the state that you live in and the city that you live in as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about number 1 here. So one thing to clarify. Again, you may be just fine. That's great. But there's some folks out there that may not be. And just because you're fine now doesn't mean 2 months down the road you won't be. Because one thing I have noticed, especially the last 6-7 months, a lot of companies are slowing down on their payments. And fortunately, I have numerous different cash flows, so that's, again, a little bit of a challenge still, even when some of your largest customers change the terms from 30 days to 60 days. That's assuming you even get paid. You just never know right now. So what I'm trying to get at here is, doesn't matter if you're a restaurant owner, an IT professional that installs Nutanix equipment or Cisco equipment, or you're a cloud developer that has to go to the customer site every week. These are things you have to look at. Now, one of the things to be aware of is, again, there's resources out there. So be aware of what they are. Right now, the first one that seems to be the easiest to apply, and perhaps maybe, I think, I wouldn't say, how the approval works yet. I did actually apply for this as well. I have several businesses. I applied several times to see where it goes. Again, you may or may not have employees or independent contractors work for you, but you still want to be aware of this, because if you're not out at the customer site and billing, you're not working. And these are some things that you want to be aware of. Okay, because in reality, the unemployment insurance, is really up in the air. It doesn't, again, you're not going to qualify in a lot of states, unfortunately. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan in Advance. Now, this has changed a few times in the last week. Okay, this is like a moving target. So even if you applied last week, you may or may not get this, and who really knows? I don't know anyone that has said they've received anything, and this includes restaurant owners that I know, also IT pros. What I'm saying is no one's seen any of this from what I'm seeing. So who knows where this is going to go? But it actually could be a good deal if you could get it. So basically, you get up to a $10,000 advance, and that could be a loan or a grant. Now, this has changed from what I understand. It may not be up to $10,000, maybe only $1,000 per employee that you have, or contractor. So again, the SBA has changed this a few times, and it's like a moving target. I don't know where it's going to go, but we'll see. So the rates are there. The link to apply is here, and I have another video in the description where I walk you through this process as well. So I hope that helps. Really simple process. So again, click the link for the separate video. I walk you through it. The next one to really consider is called the Paycheck Protection Program. This is by the U.S. Treasury. A couple things. A lot of confusion out there. The reality is that if you're an independent consultant or you're a small business, you qualify for this. The question is how you would qualify. There's a lot of, again, information that's out there, but the reality is that this hasn't really been implemented yet, so we don't know where it's going to go. But proprietors, sole proprietors, 1099 consultants do qualify. Also, the most recent note that I have, I just want to clarify this, and I didn't update this page yet on that, is the interest rate would be about 100 basis points. And also, as an independent consultant, you do qualify for this. However, just one note, if you have, like me, if you have 1099 contractors, you can't claim them. They have to claim this themselves on how they have to apply. So just be aware. So if you have 1099 consultants, contractors, they don't count in your little request pool as well. So just be aware of that as well. So it's called the PPP. And the link for this is over here. It's at the Treasury Department. There's also an FAQ. The reality is my bank, for example, BB&T, still doesn't have anything available. They're still trying to figure it out. Also, too, I had a previous SBA loan. It was actually paid off. So I know the SBA is doing something this month. It's just, you just don't know when the next program is going to kick in. So with that said, just be aware that check your SBA lender. Each of them have different policies and procedures. But overall, this is guaranteed by the SBA. So if you have any kind of business, you shouldn't have a problem qualifying because it's not supposed to be based on credit scores or anything as well. So don't worry about that. One more note. So just be aware again. This is actually really focused on a few things. It's focused on again expenses like rent for your office. Also too. Your best basically your income, so that includes. And then also too, there's other costs that would go into this as well, such as transportation and stuff like that. You might be losing out on. Also too, other expenses. So there's a pool of things that would go into the PPP. You need to read it and figure out how you would fit in on this. Okay, so this goes through. What is what is considered a small business, the size of the business, how they look at this. Again, this is for sole proprietors as well, independent contractors, and self-employed. So it's a wide net. So theoretically, everybody's really eligible for this to a degree. Again, unless if you're someone really wealthy. So that's that. Okay, and then the last one I want to talk about is. Around the state unemployment. So this is clear that, again, if you're not working, even if you're a self-employed contractor 1099 and you haven't paid UI insurance, you still qualify through the state for this, but every state's different. Like Florida is, the #1 example of what a fiasco looks like. Again, they can't handle the workload that they have now, even on the web server. So I don't know where this is going to go, but I know that the government, the federal government, is reimbursing the states for this. So you should get $600 on top of whatever the state benefit is. So just be aware of that. Look into that. Each state is going to be different. Number 4, the IRS checks. Again, everybody that's been a taxpayer, within a certain net, income level. Would qualify, and I believe it's up to $75,000 or $150,000, and that's net income. So if you have any kind of deductions, chances are you're going to be under that in most cases. So you need to go to the IRS to figure out the terms, but theoretically these checks should be automatic. Who really knows, right? I wouldn't hold my breath. And actually, as of today, there's rumors that they should be sending out these checks today. Who really knows? I've been told by another source that this probably won't actually happen for 2 or 3 more weeks, but who really knows? Lastly, city and state grants and loans. For example, a lot of towns and cities have good options available. A lot of them are pretty limited to basically businesses that have like a footprint, like in downtown or something. So go and check out, like for example here, Jacksonville, they have a lot of things available. Again, go to the state website as well, see what's available. So that's another source you can look to as well. So with that said, I really do hope you all do great. I hope the year turns out better down the road as well. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and close out. And lastly, again, this is not advice, financial advice or legal advice or anything like that. Just trying to help people out, let you know that just because you're an IT consultant doesn't mean you can't qualify for some of this. And if you are harmed in any way by this circus that's going on, then, certainly feel free to look into it and see what you could receive down the road. Thanks again. Please do let me know any comments below if I gave you some good advice or you found something new. I'd love to hear. Take care.